Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with a brand new Testaments theory discussion, and we've got a big one here. One that we have all been excited to tackle here for a very long time. Who is Daisy really?
And we've got Media Melanie with us here today. Thank you so much for joining us. She is a good friend of ours who is also covering Testaments over on her channel, which is Media Melanie TV. So I hope you guys will go over and check it out. Also, check out her Instagram, which is Media Melanie. And thank you so much for being part of this. It's been so fun covering Testaments, and we've loved your coverage.
Oh, thank you so much. The feeling is mutual, and I appreciate you guys having me, especially for such an important discussion that I feel like the entire fandom is having right now.
It is like a collective sense of craziness that is going on. It's one of those things where I've heard, I don't know, the Nichole stuff's obviously out there. There's 100 other theories. Is this like a time traveling character from another Margaret Atwood source material? Like there could be 2 million theories, but we have all put on our detective caps. We've done a little bit of work to try to comb through it, and we are here with ideas, with predictions that are just going to be so much fun to get into.
Yeah, and we want to start this out by saying that all theories are still on the table right now. Like, we know that Bruce Miller has come out and specifically said that Daisy is not Nichole, and she probably isn't. If we're just looking at the ages here, I mean, Nichole got out of Gilead. She would be like, what, 3 or 4 or something? So by this time, we have a 4 year time jump. She'd be like 8. So this doesn't make any sense. But we've all seen on TV how they, just retcon people's ages all the time, especially on soaps. They're like, oh, we need this child to be an adult now. Let's just do that. And everybody's like, okay, we accept. And I would accept that as well. But I mean, is it Nichole? What are we thinking?
Where you at, Melanie?
I have a hard time thinking it's Nicole, but I will tell you first and foremost, when the show came out, my head went there immediately because why wouldn't it be
Same.
Nicole? My biggest issue is if it's not Nicole, why couldn't they have just renamed Daisy from the book and given her a different name just to lessen some of this confusion?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think this is all intentional. Okay, first tinfoil ahead here. They really want the book readers to be losing their minds throughout a lot of this season because it's like that's them not giving a clear answer, knowing full well there's all these people out here who think that it was Nichole in a source material. They're going to keep that. And I think something that's kind of hard to focus on amidst all this is that we all know what Bruce has said. A lot of our commenters have known what Bruce has said all about this. I mean, we can get into the debates of like are interviews canon for a show. And like, I think Bruce, he's saying that it's not Nichole. I'm going to take his word for it. But the 90% of people watching this show are probably not looking at what people are saying in interviews and
Yes.
all of that. So I think for all of them, that possibility is just like floating out there, regardless of what anybody is saying.
And here's the thing, until we see it on screen, I feel like all theories are up for debate. I really do. Why are you casting someone who looks exactly like June and it's not Nicole?
That's the thing too. And the emotional reaction that June had when she was talking to Daisy, she had literal tears in her eyes and she was coming across as such a motherly figure. And like you said, Jess, just
Yeah.
the similarities to June's appearance and she does seem to me like a mix of Nick and June.
Yeah.
The personal appearance thing is something that I will never get over. I mean, it doesn't matter what anybody says about this coincidence, whatever it may be. Maybe they just really wanted this actress, but it is just sort of like, okay, come on, guys. I'm not even the best at this. Like, I usually don't even pick up on physical similarities. And even I am just sitting here and being like, what's going on here?
Yeah, because the other theory that people have been talking about is that this is Janine's daughter, Angela. And if we're looking over at the Daisy Nicole thing and being like, that age doesn't match up, this one doesn't match up either.
No, it does not. Not at all, unfortunately. It would have been really cool, but if we're saying Nicole's not Daisy, then I think it's pretty safe to say that neither is Angela with that timing of it all.
Yeah, it just poses, I think, this really interesting question of, okay, you guys aren't willing to seemingly bend the rules so that it's Nick Cole. So you're gonna
Right.
then bend the rules so that it's Janine's daughter of all people, and we don't even know if Madeline Brewer is gonna be on the Testaments. Because if this is, yeah, I know, please, like if this is magically Janine's daughter, and you don't have Janine, our
Right.
beloved, appearing on this show, can you imagine like the collective, I don't know, just like of the entire fandom out there? Like there will be some angrily written posts on social media, partially from Jess.
I'd be pissed. I'll be
Yes, and
pissed.
I mean, also not to mention, I don't think it is in Janine's character DNA to have given up her daughter after all she went through, was reunited with her. So if it was Angela, which again I don't think it is, I think that would unfortunately mean too that Janine is no longer with us, and that would be really
Mhm.
sad.
No,
1,000%. I totally agree with you. I don't think she's giving up that daughter. She would have to be in the ground.
I am fun. I want to see Janine again, obviously, because I love Madeline, I love the character, but like I also want to live in a world where she is happy, like she has gone through it. Like don't bring her back on the Testaments just to have her go through like another multiple circles of you know what, so that we can all just be sad and crying. Like I don't want that for her.
Okay, so there's also the theory that this is one of the children that is off of the Angel's flight. And I'm having a tough one with this one because since there's only like this 4 year time jump, and we know that that was a few years before that, even if Daisy is like, say, 13 or 14 right now, then she would have had to be closer to like 8 or 9 or 10 on that flight, which means that she would remember Gilead. She would remember what she went through. She would probably know that her adoptive parents are her adoptive parents, and she was shocked to find that out. So it feels like this is probably not the case.
Yeah, that too. And June specifically said she was in diapers when it happened. And if she would have had
Yes.
to have been 8 years old, then that just doesn't track either with the story that June was giving to Daisy.
Right.
The,
Unless she's lying,
I mean,
which
she
yeah.
I
could
don't
be.
think she is.
Yeah, we have no reason to think she's lying for now. I mean, the timeline, it can be very, very confusing. I think we can all be more than accepting of that. I think it doesn't help that there were multiple seasons of The Handmaid's Tale that were like several years after the one
Mhm.
prior. So it's very hard to remember, oh, this event happened at this point, and here's how these characters dealt with this. And like,
Mhm.
okay, Angel's Flight. June was helping with Angel's Flight. June clearly has some sort of connection here to
Right.
Daisy, but like Daisy would have had to have some sort of weird sci-fi rapidly aging thing going on for any of that to make sense. And it's sort of like what we've said already with these other theories. Like if you're not going to bend the rules for Nichole or
Right.
for Janine's, though, like why are you bending the rules for Angel's Flight of all things?
Absolutely.
All right, here's where we're going to get a little bit crazy here, guys, and talk about the real Okay, so first and foremost, one thing we really have to remember, I understand too, there's this very inherent desire to have Daisy be somebody who we've seen on the show previously. But the
Right.
problem is, as both of you have lined out at this point, it's just that like it wouldn't really make sense for it to be a storyline that we've seen actively on the show because that character would not then be old enough to be Daisy. So then, as a part of our rapid investigation here, we all had to go really, really far back to the past because if we all remember, Hannah slash Agnes, she came about before the rise of Gilead and before the events of season one. So, like, if we're to believe that Daisy is maybe a year or two younger than Agnes, then we're also talking about someone who was born prior to a lot of the events at the start of the show, meaning that we weren't actively there when it happened. So this is where we all get back in our time machine and we go all the way
Oh,
back. Yeah, here we go. Start of season one. Let's do it.
beep, pop, 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 boop. All right, we are in the past.
All right. So before June was with Fred and Serena, there
Mhm.
was someone else that was there. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that, like, Fred and Serena were aware that there's this other baby out there because that doesn't track with what we've seen on the show. But is it possible? Hear me out. Is it possible that this handmaid had a baby prior to being at Fred and Serena's, that this baby ended up being one of the first that was eventually sent out by Mayday? This is a story June has heard many times in dealing with Mayday. That's why she feels as close to her as she kind of explains to Daisy. And I think this would be a beautiful little full circle thing here where Daisy is sort of the product of somebody who didn't get to unfortunately survive everything that happened, but June feels like this personal responsibility to help, like, this person who came after, this person who
Mhm.
she understands what her mother went through. I think there's just something really, really powerful there that would kind of sort of explain a lot of this.
Absolutely. And along with that, Matt, there was a
Mhm,
statement that June said to Daisy. She said, Mayday's got you. We've
mhm,
always had you from the beginning. And what if the beginning is literally the beginning of Gilead, and she truly was one of these first babies? I think that makes
Yeah.
really good sense.
And also, we have, June finding that saying, which I won't repeat in this video for obvious reasons, inside the closet from the first handmaid that was there that really like empowered her to get through this and make it to the other side. So, Bruce has said that, even if this isn't Nichole, that there would be this motherly feeling there,
mhm.
and that would make sense what that connection would be then.
Yeah,
I think it's a good theory.
thank you. No,
Yes.
I think it has to be something that's emotionally resonant to June. We're not going through
Yes.
this whole journey, and I mean, I'm going to be really mad if we are. If it comes around whenever they reveal this, it's like, oh, Daisy is just this random person who was not attached to June in any way, and suddenly June comes to care about her. Like that just doesn't make any sense.
No, no sense at all.
No, but that's at least a theory I'm willing to ride with right now, just because, like, okay, I can understand how that would work, kind of, sort of, within the time frame they've shown up on the show.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Melanie?
I'm with Matt in agreeing that there's not necessarily a lineage that is tied to Daisy, that she's
Yeah.
not necessarily related to anybody by blood. And I think that part of the twist could be that she is not related to them by blood.
Hmm.
And I was rewatching the first few episodes and something really struck me.
Okay.
The Pearl Girls who
Mhm.
entered Neil and Melanie's shop, they were bringing the Gilead pamphlets and then they left a jar of honey. I was thinking, okay, what if the honey was actually an explosive? Because honey can actually ferment and there's some scientific things where honey can actually explode,
Yeah.
or it could have been disguised as honey in a butane extraction that they literally brought that in, planted it, and were sent there as missionaries to actually take Melanie and Neil out.
Yeah.
Man, that's like some CSI level stuff. Like that's
Yeah.
cool.
To try to get their hands on Daisy, because we did see that June was saying, that she was put there as for protection with these parents. And now that she's been found, she's got to be moved. It's a good theory.
I think
Yeah,
a big,
and
yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, Matt. And I was going to say along with that, and now this is going to be really dark. Let's say Mayday is a little
Oh,
bit more morally gray than we would expect.
Yeah.
What if somebody from Mayday saw Melanie receiving one of those pamphlets and said, "Oh no, are they now sympathetic to Gilead all of a sudden?" And Mayday may have taken out Neil and Melanie in order to specifically radicalize Daisy and send her on a revenge tour. Jess, I know you love revenge. It could
I
all be
love
a big
revenge.
revenge story.
I'm all about revenge story. No, that could be a thing because I do think they are in that morally gray area. And if they needed somebody like Daisy to get into the schools because they've never had somebody that's on that level to be in the schools, then that would definitely incentivize them. I mean, June, as far as we know right now, is not the person that sent Daisy in. We saw her at the end at that restaurant being like, someone from Mayday will come and get you. It wasn't June was like, oh, and now you're going in, right?
Yeah.
So it could be that that's how it came together. It's a good idea,
Yeah,
Yeah.
she could be this manufactured kind of mystery
right?
girl a little
Yeah.
bit, you know?
Yeah, riled up to be like, I'm going to do something about this.
And
Awesome. Get in there.
But I think it's possible that maybe June could be using Gilead as a scapegoat to really fuel that whole revenge situation. And in that case, maybe Daisy doesn't even know who Agnes is in the first place. I think we all assume she does, and that maybe June or somebody told her, and that's part of her mission. But maybe that is not her mission at all. Maybe it is just this whole revenge situation.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, there is no evidence right now that she does know who Agnes is at all.
no, this is what kind of makes this season so weird and mysterious, but also cool at this point. It's like we want to make assumptions that everybody knows everything. Like I want to sit back and be like, all right, Aunt Lydia, you know everything that's going on here. You've paired up,
She does.
I
you've
think so
paired up
too.
Daisy. They're all paired together for a reason. Daisy knows everything for X, but the truth is, I mean, we don't even know how much June knows. Like, we don't know any of this sort of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm wanting to go into the next part of this season just sort of feeling like, all right, June has been made aware of some of these things because she knows this is a dark world and that Mayday, like Jess said, like does have this sort of morally gray operational quality to it. But we can't assume, like, I do think we're gonna get to, I don't want to say a happy ending at the end of this story, but I think they know it's dark. They want to give us like some measure of catharsis, but it's not going to be easy, going into that.
Mhm.
Yeah, not at all. And I just kept racking my brain when we decided we
Mhm.
were going to do this video. Like, what are some other connections besides the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angela, besides Nichole?
Yeah.
I'm thinking then it would have to be tied to someone like Aunt Lydia, but I also just don't see that necessarily being a possibility. Although I do completely agree that Lydia is 100% working with Mayday, even though it hasn't been revealed, because
Mm.
it's no coincidence she paired Daisy with Agnes.
100%. I
Yep.
feel like for sure she's got to be a mole in there working for Mayday. And yeah, that she knows that Daisy is part of Mayday. Yeah, I don't think there's any coincidence there.
Yeah, I gotta feel like Lydia is aware of some stuff. Like Lydia is still gonna frustrate me. Lydia's always frustrated because she's about survival still, right? Like
Yes.
she
Yeah.
doesn't want anything to happen to her. I only think she'd be willing to go that far if she actually like ensured some big, like sweeping, overwhelming change that would make all of these women okay and maybe make their lives completely different. Like maybe she would go that far, but I think for now she's got knowledge, but there's only so much that she realizes she can do before it's all just going to come falling back on her again.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. I mean, she's got a whole statue at her school, so she probably kind of likes that a little bit too. So, I mean, Lydia's always been morally gray, and
Yeah.
that all plays into it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I had seen some theories online of people talking about the idea that maybe this is her child, and I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, there's some interesting ones out there. The Aunt
Yeah.
Lydia's child, there's
Yeah.
like this, oh, is it Commander Lawrence and Eleanor? And it's just like, you guys directly told us
Yeah.
that they don't have, like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the
it's,
whole retconning thing. If we're not going to retcon one thing, don't retcon other things. I think we have to have some kind of rules that we're following here.
Yes.
yeah, and you can't establish something where all of a sudden one of your main characters from the original Handmaid's Tale was just a blatant liar to all of us as viewers, because then that also makes us feel like, can we trust any of you, the producers, at this point? How reliable? And then we get into some like weird Mr. Robot situation where we can't trust anything the show is doing
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, it needs to have some sense of credibility to really keep us engaged as viewers. So
Yeah.
I think that there will be a twist, but I tend to believe what Bruce said. But I
Hmm.
will say if it does end up that it's Nichole, we are totally all going to be losing our minds collectively if that comes. But
If it
probably
comes that it's Nichole and Bruce, you've been telling us it's not Nichole, I'm going to be pissed. But I, at this point, think that he's probably telling the truth.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, we've seen over the years, man, I've been covering TV for a very
Yeah.
long time now, where people have had to go into interviews and kind of like shift around storylines to be able to keep spoilers and keep surprises for all of us, which
Yeah.
I'm thankful for. I don't want them to have to go in and be like, you right, it's Nichole, right? Like that's not helpful to us as viewers wanting to have a nice surprise, right? But
Yeah.
I don't think he's just out there straight up lying to everybody. It's probably not Nichole, but until I see it on my screen, everything is up in the air.
I just
I am
appreciate it.
Yes, I am completely with you, Jess. And I've just got to say, in general, this season has been awesome. I'm a big teen, young adult drama
Mhm.
type of person, and watching this coming of age and seeing also how disturbing it is with these younger children has just been really entertaining to watch. And I'm just so excited to see, how it ends up wrapping out and really what is Daisy's truth. That's why we're here. So hopefully we'll be finding out by the end of the season.
I really, really hope so. But no, I really am having a great time with this show. Like, I thought it was going to be good because, I love Handmaid's Tale. I know a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know about the trailer because of like its vibe and its tone. Like, I actually like the I feel like I'm on an island where I'm just
I'm
like,
with you, Matt. I liked the trailer
whoa,
too. I mean,
oh,
some people,
way.
Yeah,
yes, I
no,
think
I'm on an island and I felt that the trailer felt like I was watching like some sort of CW coming of age story, the way that it was put together. And I was just like, I hope this isn't the vibe of the show. And I felt like it wasn't going to be, but the trailer threw me off.
Luckily, we're in a very good place. We're almost to the halfway point of this season. But, Media Melanie, thank you for coming on,
Thank you.
having a good time with us, like unpacking some of these. I hope they give us more stuff to kind of chew on in these next couple of episodes.
I hope so too. And thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it. I love all of the commentary on your channel and, look forward to a potential future collab again, maybe.
For
Absolutely. Thank you
sure.
so much.
All right. And
Thank you.
thank you guys for hanging out with us, watching, discussing Testaments. We really, really appreciate it. And we will see you here next time.